Now, in the run-up to this year's general election, thousands of potential candidates are out in full force to convince voters of their political ideas. However, it seems that not everybody is swayed by what's on offer, as many are choosing to turn their backs on Westminster. In the last election, 34% decided against going to the polling booth altogether. The number of people who decided not to vote was bigger than the level of support for any one party. It's a trend that dates back to 2005, when 38% chose to stay politically silent. And now it seems that these people want to have their voice heard. And the decision to spoil ballot papers has been made by many. Some argue that voting in the upcoming election won't make any difference, and that people have to represent themselves. Well, joining me now is Jamie Stanley. He's the founder of None of the Above. The organisation campaigns for the option to show disapproval for all the election candidates to be included on the ballot paper. Jamie, why do you think more and more people are getting frustrated with what's on offer politically?
Well, that's been going for a very long time. I think, firstly, I would take issue with your tagline. It's not really apathy we're talking about here. A lot of people have just come to realise that the system we have in this country is kind of rigged. It's really designed for two-party politics. And, of course, it's not a two-party system anymore. It is in reality, because that's kind of all you end up with. But there are so many other parties. The system favours a two-party system. So it's very, very difficult for any of the other parties to get breakthrough at all, which makes it difficult for people's voice to actually be heard. What we're saying is that those people should be able to formally reject all that's on offer and register meaningfully that they don't consent to that system. And the only way to do that is via a none of the above option on the ballot paper.
Wouldn't a none of the above option, though, just be sort of raising a problem within the political system and not actually providing any kind of solution?
Honestly, it would be providing the solution to the fact that it's possible to formally withhold consent. Democracy is anybody seeking to govern, he can obtain the consent of the people. But it's only measurable if it's possible to withhold consent. And in the context of elections, that has to be formal, because voting is formal, consenting is formal, therefore withholding consent must be formal. So it's not really an issue of whether it's a problem or a solution, it's simply the fact that in any true democracy, you must be able to do that. It's a democratic prerequisite to be able to. It's not possible to do that at the moment. Abstaining is not the same, because it can be dismissed as voter apathy with no further analysis. Spoiling the ballot paper, they get lumped in with those spoiled in error. It provides no measure of who's actually wanting to protest and withhold their consent. So we need a mechanism that does that. It's absolutely essential, and frankly, the more and more, the more awareness we are able to raise about this, the more inevitable it becomes, in my opinion.
If we take a none of the above option to one of its conclusions, it could receive a majority, right? What would happen then?
Well, we have a proposal for that. There are all sorts of ideas being floated around, but in an actual true democracy, of course, if the majority rejects what's on offer, then the result is null and void. So in that situation, you'd have to have a rerun election. Realistically, it probably wouldn't happen nationally. You'd probably be looking at specific constituencies where that's happened, in which case you'd have to have a by-election. Now, there's already a mechanism in place if an MP dies, within 3 months there has to be a by-election. It could just invoking that mechanism, but we've actually got another proposal which we think is slightly better, because there's obviously the risk of voter fatigue with rerun elections in quick succession. We're suggesting that there should be between 6 months to a year of a caretaker MP, whether it be the incumbent or maybe the second place candidate who will already have polled well, while the logistics of the rerun are put in place. We don't really see that would be any more problematic than an MP dying and there being a delay between finding a replacement.
Okay, Jamie Stanley, great to hear your thoughts. Thank you very much. Well,